Greetings everyone. Welcome back to the Business Application Show, where we talk about business applications, Microsoft Dynamics business application and Power Platform. From last couple of sessions, we have been talking about the Power Pages, and today as well we will continue on talking about Power Pages. And today we are going to talk about identity providers. So here is the agenda that we are going to cover today. So we'll start with the basic introduction, like what is the identity provider, and then we'll see that what are the different supported providers we have, which we can use in the Power Pages, and then we'll see that high level steps that we require when we want to configure these identity provider, and these are the steps that will be so high level steps that is required, and then finally we will show the demo that how we can configure this complete identity providers. Okay, so before jumping on the main topic, let's have a quick introduction about ourselves. So myself Mahender, and I have my friend with me Venkata. We both are taking here, so I will be taking care of the PPT part, where I will go through for some of the slides and where I will explain those what we are going to show in the demo, and then I will pass mic over to my friend Venkat, and he will be taking care of the demo. So we are both Microsoft MVPs as well as CSharpCorner MVPs, and more than 10 years of experience on the Microsoft technologies. So yeah, so that's a quick introduction about ourselves. So let's start our topic. Okay, so we are working with the Power Pages, and we have gone through almost every component or every tool or every you know stuff that is there on the Power Pages, how we can create Power Pages, how we can configure security, how we can create pages, how we can use JavaScript, how we can use liquid template, how we can use word template. So those thing that we have already covered, and today we are going to talk about the identity provider. So now let's first understand basically what is identity provider. So when you want to access any application, it could be a website or it could be any other application that required, right? So when you want to log into that application, you want to access that application, you need to enter some of the credentials, right? And that credential can be of different type, right? So depending on that, whatever identity provider you will use, that identity provider basically identify that, okay, who is this user? If this is a valid user, they are authorized to access this application or not, right? So that is the one thing that is this identity provider take care of, the authentication, right? And once we are authenticated, after that we have a concept of authorization, where basically our the security that we put on the Power Pages work on further things, right? That if we can create record of some entity, we can access record of some entity, we can access this page or not. So that's basically authorization. Okay, so today we are talking here is that identity provider. So apart from that, in a standard way, basically when we want to access Power Pages, we use username and password. Okay, and that is basically we store on the contact. So contact is the user that we use when we want to access Power Pages, and there we store that user name and the password, and using that we can access Power Pages, right? So that's a standard way. But what about if we don't want to use that? Instead of that, we want to use any of your existing social media account or that other Microsoft account to access Power Pages. Okay, so that's what here this identity provider comes into picture. Power Apps allows us to, apart from the standard username and password, we can use identity provider. As you can see here, we have different type of identity provider that is part of the Power Pages, which we can configure and which allow us to use these existing credentials, and using the existing credentials we can use Power Pages or any other website where we have implemented this identity provider. Okay, so using these options, we don't need to set up a new user, a new password. We can reuse existing account, whatever it is, Microsoft or Google or social media account. Using that account we can configure it here, and then we can use Power Pages using those, right? So that is basically less effort. We don't need to additionally set up and maintain those things for us. So that's what here is the identity provider. And today we are going to see what are the identity provider are there, and one of them is Microsoft Entra ID that we are going to discuss today. So here, this is the screenshot of the Power Pages, where you can see that these are the list of the identity provider which is there, that is supported by Power Pages. So you can go ahead and you can see here we have these options for configuring them. So you can from this you can configure it, and these are basically, for example, Microsoft work account or school account, or you have any account that you want to use, you can use for accessing Power Pages. Similar to that, you can, as I said, you can also use your social identity providers. So if you are already using some social account, that you can connect with the Power Pages, and then you can access the Power Pages pages and the data that is exposed on those pages, right? You can also configure your standard email and password there, and then if there is any other enterprise identity, that can be also configured it here. Okay, so these are the supported provider that is part of the Power Pages. So depending on the requirement, we can use any. So what we are going to discuss today is Microsoft Entra external ID. Okay, so this is here basically we use a common term while working on this business application, which is basically B2C, means business to customer. Okay, so if you have any application, again application or website that you want to expose for your customers, for your partners, for your vendors, right? So sometime we can set up that credentials and user into our Power Pages or our environment, but sometimes they say that we already using one username and password, or we are already using our credential for accessing our system. So can we use that for the Power Pages, so that they don't need to enter it again, and we can use the single sign on feature, right? So if they are already connected with their application and they are working there, and they want to open the Power Pages, so they can use Power Pages open on this different tab, so that it will automatically authenticate them using this external IDs. So that's what we can configure here. So this basically help us to use their existing credentials and configure it under Microsoft Entra. Okay, earlier this was basically part of, just like we had this Azure Active Directory business to customer. This is similar to that only, but now we have a separate environment, separate interface that is created here, which we called Microsoft Entra Admin Center. Okay, so there we can go ahead and configure this Entra ID. So there are predefined steps that you need to configure. Okay, so those steps you need to configure. After configuring those steps, then you can enable that identity provider on the Power Pages, and after that they can easily log into that their existing ID. Okay, so this will be a simple way to log in them. So without switching to that browser, or go to another browser, enter a new username and password there, or use any other credentials, but they can simply use whatever application they are using. So they are working on their own environment, and that environment they have used their credentials. So same ID can be used for the Power Pages. So that's what we have here. That's what we can configure in the Microsoft Entra external IDs, right? Because we are connecting that external IDs, the person who's not part of our domain, right? So they are from the different domain. So we are configuring their IDs into our domain, so that they can access our application easily. Okay, so that's what we have here, that Microsoft Entra external ID feature that is basically added to the Power Pages. So here in a high level, Actually, in a high level, most of that identity provider have same thing. Okay, but depending on the scenario where you are doing that, that can be different. Okay, so for example, the first thing is that app registration. So you need to register that app, where you set up all these details, that how you will be accessing, which environment you will be accessing. So those kind of things we do on that app registration. And then we do the configuration of the identity provider. So means once the app is registered, then we will take some of the data from there and configure on the identity provider. And after that we can enable this authentication. And then after this, you can see on the right hand side, for example, in this environment we have enabled this Microsoft Entra external ID. Then we will get this button. Okay, and when you will click on this button, then authentication will work and it will be redirected depending on the page that we have created for this. Or we can also use this, and like for example here, username and password, we can also do that. We can hide these things here, and we can keep like just one thing we want to show to the customer. Okay, so that kind of thing can be done here. Now let's see these steps in little bit more detail. So first thing is the app registration. Okay, so this app registration is similar to that. If you have done that app registered on the Azure. So for example, let's say if you want to use app user, right? So if you are working in the Power Platform, or you are working in the model driven app, or in the Power Automate, you want to use a app user, right? So for this app user, you need to configure that register app in the Azure. And there you can set that the app user, you can provide the detail. You can set up that API access. So for example, I want to set up a app user for the model driven app. Okay, so I can create the register that app, and after that I can provide access to that model driven app. So there is a section where I can provide access to the API, so that it can connect that model driven app Power Platform API to get the data, or access the data. So those kind of thing is there. And then we can set up that credentials, because as soon as you set up that register that app, the client ID is automatically created, right? But after that we set up the secret. So we use this app ID and secret for the authentication, and that kind of thing we also need to do here. So we can register that app, and this, you can see that this is basically a Microsoft Entra admin center. So here we have option where we can go ahead and register that app. And in this registration here, we need to take that redirect URL. So basically that redirect URI basically is when you will start configuring this on the Power Pages. There you will get a particular URL. That URL you can take and put it here under the written URL. Okay, so you need to set up that web from that option, and then you can paste the same URL here, and then you can register your application. After that registering application, you need to do one or two configuration here. For example, you need to enable the token. Okay, those kind of setting you need to do, that we will show you in the demo. But once this is done, then you have this app registration step completed. Then next step is basically setting up the user flow. Okay, so this is the another step that you need to complete for setting up this Microsoft Entra external ID. So you provide that name of your app, what name you want to give, and then you have this option that okay, which identity provider you want to use, how you want to set up that user, authenticate that user. You can use these options depending on that requirement. So for example, I can say that email one time password, so that when the user will try to access Power Pages, it will send a OTP, and that OTP you can get, and then once you will put up that OTP, and then you will be authenticated and you will be entered into the Power Pages. Okay, so that's how we can configure that user flow here on this admin center. And once this admin center user flow app registration is completed, we need to take these details. As I said that when you will set up app, so you will get a client ID, right? And that client ID you need to bring and paste it here. Similar to that, we have other options like authority, redirection, URI, and then that's metadata address. These information you need to bring from that admin center and you need to update it here. Okay, so we have these options that we can go there to these locations, and from these locations we will get these URLs, and that URL we can put it here and complete this registration step for the Microsoft Entra external IDs. Okay, and once these setups are completed, after that our authentication, this identity provider configuration will be completed, and then we can test that and we can check on the Power Pages that if we are working this we are able to connect or not. If there is some issue, if this URL is not correct or the step is not configured completely, or you forget to configure some step, then it won't work. Okay, so we will show you this on this demo. So let's see on this. I will pass mic to my friend Venkat, and he will show you demo on that, because here the demo part will take more time because we need to configure all these step by steps. So over to you, Venkat.
Yeah, thanks, Mahender, for a quick introduction and also explanation about what we are going to do it in the next. Okay, so I will share my screen. Just please confirm whether you
Yeah.
can see my screen. Okay,
Okay. Yeah, we cannot see it yet. Waiting for that.
okay. Hope you can see my screen.
Yeah, I think it's yeah, we can see it.
Okay, I will switch off my video for some time while I am presenting. Okay, and I will take this one down. Okay. So, sir, can you confirm whether you can see my
Yeah, we can see
intro?
this. Yeah, we can see the app registration page and Microsoft Admin Center. Yeah.
I see. Okay. Thank you. So, this is my site. Okay. This is my Power Pages site. So, here, if you observe right, I don't have the external Entra that is present. So, now what I am going to do it is, as in step one, I have to go to this microsoftentra.com, and here you have to go to this Entra ID overview. So we have to get accustomed with the terminology, the site name like portal.azure.com. The same way we have to go and enter into the entra.microsoft.com. So here what I'm going to do it is, first we have to create one particular uh, So these are the options that are present: user, internal, and enterprise organization, and app registration. So if I click on this manage tenants, I'll, I'm going to create one particular tenant. Here we have to select external, and then I'm going to give I'll give this domain, and then just I have selected this one, and after this just what I'm going to do, just I am going to uh, review and create. I'll say that just add in a subscription. So I will add my resource group. Just the resource group is being loading. Just take some. It will take some particular time. Let me do one thing. So if I try to do it right, what it is saying, you should add the subscription. So let the resource group get loaded. Okay, just let me refresh it. on the home, extra ID overview. I'll go to the manage tenants, click on create tenant, external, continue. This one on. We'll see it for a couple of minutes. If this resource group loads, that's fine. Otherwise, I'll show one tenant which has already have created. Meanwhile, you will not be charged for MAU as this feature is currently in preview actually. Okay, this Microsoft Entra, this one is in preview. That's why you're not going to get charged for it.
Let's take time. So we want to, maybe we
Right.
can create new one. So it will be quick. Or
Yeah, just will see it for a minute, Mahinder. If not, then I will show the existing one of the tenant perspective.
okay. So while we are waiting for that, maybe we can also show this. Like we can also come to this admin center from that Power Pages.
Right.
It's
Yes.
from the
So let us go for it. So what is that we are going to do? It is in this identity providers. First, what we have to do it, we have to come here. So how you are going to the Power Pages studio? You have to come here. So this is the landing page. So generally, so in this this is the home page. Once you go to this one, just you click on this edit. You will enter. You will get enter into the Power Pages. And here on the setup, you the security, just click on this identity providers. And in this identity providers, you click on this Microsoft Entra ID. So I say that Microsoft Entra external ID, and I'm not going to change anything. So if you wanted to give some other name, you can give it. And here, so the first URL, what we have to save it is this one. This is step one. And then I'm going to click on the create user flow. Okay. So for this, right, we need to get the app registration details. So here for this particular step, right, we need to get the client ID and all the other things from the app registration. So for that, let us go back to here. Come on. Okay. I'll do one thing. I'll go to this particular tenant. So I'll go to this app registrations and then I'm going to click on the new registration. So I'll give one test here, and I'll give this one as a single tenant. I'll select this as an web redirect URI, and then I'm going to paste here the first URL which I have uh, copied it from the site. Okay, now I click on this register. Now this is been done. So now the next step is I have to copy this particular client ID. Okay, now what I have to do it is my app registration has been created. Now I have to go to this authentication, and then I'll click on this. I have to enable these access tokens and the ID tokens, and then I will keep these as is, and enable the mobile and desktop flows, enable native authentication, directly interact with the users, collect their credentials without returning to the browser's authentication. I will keep this one as is. Just I am updating the application authentication. So not what I did in the authentication I came it, and then I have used it, and now I am redirecting to the API permissions, and in that I am providing an admin consent. Okay, this is been successful. Now under these external identities, I will come back to these external identities, and I will select the user flows. Do you see this? This is my Contoso test is my app. In this particular app, what I am going to do it is just I am going to click on this. I'm going to create one new user flow. I'll say that it is login or sign up is the user flow I am going to create, and I am going to use email with password and email with one-time passcode. Okay, so I will keep this one as an email with a passcode, and for this particular flow, right, I will be providing all these details. I will collect all the details, city, country, region, and show more what are all the details that you require. It you can get these particular details. Okay, so you can get this, and I click on this OK, and then now I'm going to click on this create the user flow. So this user flow is very much mandatory, so that once this flow has been created, now I will select this particular flow, and then I'll go to this applications. In this application, I will add my application. So this is my Contoso test. I will select this one. So now if I go back to this my app registrations, you will get to see my Contoso test. This is the app that I have created. So now I have copied this particular client ID. So this is the one, and then under here, so if I click on this endpoints, right, I have to take few other details as well. One is the authorization URL. This is my third one. And then fourth one is the OpenID Connect, which this is the OpenID Connect metadata document. This one I have to take this. Now, after taking these details of these endpoints, I got what are the things that I have? I got the client ID, I have the authority, and also the metadata address. Now go back to here and then give this client ID, it's a client ID, and then the authority URL. This is my authority URL, and I will going to give this metadata address here. So after that, just I can click on next. So external logout that I am not going to do it anything. So these are the advanced things like if you wanted to use the token lifetime of contact mapping with email, all these things that I am not going to do it. So I click on this confirm. So now if you observe, just let us see this URL and redirect our URL is this one, client ID, all these things and all. It says a close. Now, if you observe this Microsoft Entra external ID, I have configured it. Now, what we have to do it is we have to go to this particular setup and then we have to go to the Open Admin Center and I have to restart the site. So this is how you can restart your Power Pages site. So what we have to do it is you have to so yeah, you have to restart this particular site. So there are other options that are present: restart site, shut down this site, delete this site, disable customer errors, enable diagnostic logging logs, and enable maintenance mode. So for that, just I am going to use this restart. So restart will take some time. Now what I am going to do it is uh, I am going to refresh this page. If everything works perfectly, then it will take some time. So service is not available. That means I have just restarted it, right? So the site is getting started and it is getting adjusted. So it will take a few seconds to load. Right. So if you observe right, this is my site. Previously, before starting this particular demo, we don't have this Microsoft Entra external ID is not there. Now I'll click on this Microsoft Entra external ID. If you observe, this was the one that we have got it. What I am going to do, just I am going to click on this use another account then just I'm going to provide one. So just we have sent, it was mentioned that it has sent that code to my email. Let us see it. It's not came yet. Okay, let us do one thing. Let me give another ID. I wanted to create this one. So I'll go back to here. So if you observe, I got this particular code. Just what I'm going to do, right? Just I will keep this one. So these are the details that I can give. Bad India, impact, impact. Okay. So if you observe, right, just I have logged in. This is my email. Just I'll update it. Okay. So now if you observe, right, I have logged in with here. So if I sign out and then just I'll try to sign in, as I have been logged in for one time, it will help me to go for it and simply I can log in. Okay. So this is how you can easily get logged into this particular site. So this is how you can enable any of the details. If you wanted to update, then you can easily update these particular profile details. So if you go back to this site, and then if you wanted to see what is that has been created, this particular user, whatever just I have registered, right, with my email ID, this user will be created as an contact inside my Dynamics CRM. So it will take some time for loading. We'll see it. So if you observe, these are all the details that are present. So if you observe, this is the one that just have been created. If you observe my email, so if I go and see it in this portal contact, you'll get all these particular ones, the details and all whatever just I have added here. So this is the roles is a user role because these are the different things that are present. So the web authentication, if you observe it, this is the username that got generated, email confirmed, and the logout enabled. All these things are present. So if you observe security stamp, if you see it, just now we have created it. This is the identity provider. So if you see it, this is the username got created, and this is the contact that got created. And if you observe the timestamp, this is how the created on has been created. So so if you observe, this is the owner and all these details. So so eventually, right, a user got registered with his personal email ID, and he got this particular access to the Power Pages as an external contact. So this is how you can easily configure any Microsoft Entra external ID without writing any single line of code. So over to you, Mahender.
Yeah, thank you, Venkata. Yep. So yeah, so this is how we can configure Microsoft Entra external IDs, and depending on the flow. So right now, for example, we set up this, and we can see that this contact is created in the Power Pages. We can have the flow that is set up, that as soon as this account is created, account this basically the user account. So we can automatically assign the web roles. Okay, so that whenever a new user is created, we can keep the default web roles that will be assigned to that user when they will log into the Power Pages, and they can see the steps that they are authorized for. So those kind of thing can be also done once we have done this setting. And yeah, so that's how, like, we can see how it is very easy here. Like, we can go to the admin center. There are 2 3 steps that we need to complete, and you can use your corporate ID or domain ID, whatever you have, that you and you want to connect it with here. You can simply provide that information, and then your user will be created, and you can easily work with the Power Pages using your own ID. So that's what we wanted to cover today. Thank you very much for joining us today, and stay tuned for coming session. Thank you very much. Thank you, Venkat.
Thank you. Thanks, Mahender. Thanks, everybody.